5 things she will do to you when she is already cheating on you. Listen, before we dive into these signs, I want you to understand something crucial. Cheating doesn't just happen overnight. You see, a woman doesn't simply wake up one morning and think, "Oh, I found this new guy. He's cute, caring, and charming, so I'm going to cheat right now." No. There's a process, a build-up, a series of events and emotions that lead her to that point. In fact, if she's already cheating, there's a good chance she's been sending signals for a while, sometimes subtle, sometimes glaring. The truth is, she might have already crossed that line by the time you even notice something's off. So if you spot these signs, you've got to pay attention. Look, I'm not here to put all women in a box or label them as toxic. Absolutely not. People are complex, and relationships are even more complicated. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." So let's keep our minds clear and focused on what matters, recognizing unhealthy behaviors and protecting our own well-being. Here's the thing. If you see these behaviors, it might mean she's already stepping out of the relationship. Sometimes, by the time you realize she's been distant, snappy, or hiding things, she may have been in the game for a while. The signs could be right there, in front of you, but you've been too trusting, too busy, or maybe too in love to notice. Let's say you start feeling uneasy about her sudden changes in attitude. Maybe she's become hypercritical, or you find her texting late at night and brushing it off as work stuff. Pay attention. There's no need to panic right away, but it's wise to keep your eyes on the ground. Stoic philosopher Seneca reminds us, "Fate leads the willing and drags along the reluctant." In other words, if we remain willfully blind, life's harsh lessons will drag us along until we finally learn. Now, here's the disclaimer, and it's important. I'm not saying all women are bad, or that every single change in behavior means she's cheating. Not at all. My goal is to help you spot toxic patterns, because understanding the difference between healthy and unhealthy relationships can save you from heartbreak and confusion. So with that said, let's dive in. I'm going to break down 5 things she will do to you when she is already cheating on you. Or put another way, 5 behaviors that often show up before a woman steps out on the relationship. By recognizing these signs, you'll be better equipped to handle whatever comes next. Because ultimately, you deserve clarity. You deserve honesty. And most importantly, you deserve a healthy relationship that builds you up, not one that leaves you guessing. Number 1, she will withdraw from you completely. Listen, when a woman starts to withdraw, it's not usually something that happens overnight. You see, this is the phase where all those cozy conversations and playful jokes suddenly disappear. In fact, if she used to tell you every detail about her day, what happened at work, how she felt about certain events, or even just funny stories she picked up along the way, she will cut all of that off completely. No more casual banter, no more heart-to-heart talks, no more shared laughter that once brought the two of you closer. It's like she's pulling away and shutting a door in your face. Now, here's the thing. The first step is to figure out why she's withdrawing. Let's say you notice this shift in her behavior. Don't jump to conclusions. Sit her down, look her in the eyes, and have a real conversation. Ask her if something you did or said caused hurt or offense. Because sometimes withdrawal can stem from unresolved conflict or unspoken grudges. If she's upset about a recent argument or an old wound you never properly addressed, then this distancing might be her way of coping or protecting herself. But listen, if after checking in with her, really giving her space to open up, you find you haven't done anything to justify this sudden detachment, then it's time to consider the possibility that someone else has captured her attention. Because, let's be honest, emotional energy doesn't just vanish into thin air. If she's not sharing with you, there's a strong chance she's sharing with someone else. Look, I'm not saying every woman who becomes distant is cheating. Absolutely not. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. So you've got to listen carefully to what's not being said, too. Sometimes people withdraw for personal reasons, stress, depression, or simply needing space. That's why it's crucial to have an open, honest dialogue first. But if you sense this distance is tied to her being emotionally invested elsewhere, that's your red flag. When she consistently avoids talking about her day, or acts like sharing any detail of her life with you is a chore, it could mean her emotional energy is going somewhere else. She doesn't want to connect with you anymore because she might be connecting with somebody else. Here's the thing. Once you recognize this pattern, don't ignore it. Don't rationalize it away by telling yourself she's just busy or in a mood. Sure, give her the benefit of the doubt at first, but if the pattern persists and you've confirmed there's no misunderstanding or grudge on your end, it's time to protect your own emotional well-being. In fact, Marcus Aurelius put it best when he said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If your partner's constant withdrawal is turning your thoughts dark and filling you with doubt, you have to address it, either by working it out together, if possible, or by stepping away from a relationship that's no longer serving you. You see, a healthy relationship thrives on open communication and mutual interest in each other's lives. When that's missing, something deeper might be amiss. So pay attention, have those tough conversations, and don't be afraid to face the truth. Because the moment you pretend everything is fine when it's not, you risk losing yourself in the process. Ultimately, you deserve someone who wants to share their day with you, who values your company, and who genuinely looks forward to being around you. If that's not happening, and there's no fix in sight, it might be time to consider your next steps. Remember, acknowledging the truth isn't about labeling all women as toxic. It's about understanding that certain behaviors, especially a sudden or complete emotional withdrawal, can be a strong indicator of deeper issues, sometimes issues that point to infidelity. Keep your eyes open, your heart guarded, and your mind clear. Because at the end of the day, you deserve honesty and respect in a relationship. Number 2, she will start nagging or criticizing you. Let's dive into this one. You see, if you once enjoyed a partner who understood you, who was patient, kind, and supportive, but now finds herself constantly nagging or criticizing you, that's a major red flag. In fact, it's one of those subtle yet telling changes that you cannot ignore. Imagine this. You come home after a long, exhausting day, and instead of the warm, encouraging smile you're used to, you're met with a barrage of complaints. "Why didn't you do this?" Or "You never do that," she might say. And if you listen carefully, her tone is different. It's harsher, more demanding. Look, these aren't just casual remarks. They're persistent, almost like a broken record, repeating over and over again. Here's the thing. When a woman starts comparing you to other men, saying things like, "You're not as good as he is," or "Why can't you be more like so-and-so?" It's not just idle chatter. Let's say you notice these comments cropping up more frequently than before. In a healthy relationship, constructive criticism is normal, but constant nagging isn't. It's as if she's suddenly lost the ability to appreciate you and instead finds fault in everything you do. Now listen, this behavior might not be just about minor grievances or a temporary mood swing. Often, when a woman begins to nag or criticize you out of character, it can be a signal that her attention is being drawn elsewhere. Maybe someone outside your relationship is feeding her doubts or suggesting that you're not enough. You see, emotional energy is like water. When it starts flowing somewhere else, the original source begins to dry up. And when that happens, her need to validate that new source can manifest as constant criticism of you. Let's put it into perspective. Picture your relationship as a finely tuned instrument, a harmony that once resonated beautifully between the two of you. But then, slowly, you begin to hear a discordant note. The nagging, the nitpicking. It disrupts the melody. In fact, as the day goes on, you notice that her comments become more frequent, more pointed. It's not about you not doing enough. It's about her shifting focus. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. So when you're confronted with this new pattern of behavior, the first thing you need to do is talk to her. Sit down, look her in the eye, and ask what's really going on. Is this newfound criticism coming from unresolved issues between you, or is it a sign that someone else might be influencing her? It's essential to distinguish between genuine concerns and a deeper problem that could be eroding the foundation of your relationship. In fact, if her nagging and criticism seem unprovoked, or if they're more about comparisons to others rather than addressing a specific issue, it could mean that someone outside your relationship is making her feel that she deserves better. And when you're constantly being compared and told you're not enough, it's a clear signal that she's shifting her emotional investment elsewhere. Remember, you deserve to be with someone who uplifts you and values your contributions, not someone who finds every reason to tear you down. As Marcus Aurelius wisely noted, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If you let these negative comments consume your mind, you risk losing not only your self-esteem, but also the mutual respect that every healthy relationship needs to thrive. So look, if you notice this sudden increase in nagging and criticism, take it seriously. Start a heartfelt conversation. Find out if there's something deeper behind these words. It might be a simple misunderstanding, or it might be the first sign that your partner's affections are shifting elsewhere. Either way, addressing it head-on is crucial for your peace of mind and the health of your relationship. In conclusion, constant nagging and criticism are more than just annoying. They can be the early indicators of a significant problem. Don't brush them off as mere quirks. Listen to your gut, communicate openly, and remember, you deserve honesty, respect, and a partner who values you as much as you value her. Number 3. She will withdraw from intimacy with you. Listen, intimacy is the quiet heartbeat of any relationship. It's the subtle connection that goes far beyond just physical touch. You see, when a woman begins to withdraw from intimacy, it's not merely about the physical aspect. It's an indication that her emotional closeness is fading away. In many cases, you might not notice an abrupt stop right away. Instead, let's say you observe a gradual reduction in those tender moments you once cherished. Perhaps she used to be spontaneous and affectionate, eagerly seeking out closeness with you. Now, however, you might find that her warmth and passion have dwindled. Look, she may still engage in intimacy occasionally, but it's noticeably less frequent and less heartfelt. It's as if she's carefully dialing it down, not wanting to raise any suspicions or prompt questions about why things have changed. Here's the thing. This reduction is often strategic. In fact, if she's starting to pull back just a little, it could be because she wants to maintain a facade of normalcy. She might fear that if she stops completely right away, you'd immediately begin questioning her or even suspect that her affections are being redirected elsewhere. So instead, she opts for a gradual retreat, hoping that the diminishing spark will go unnoticed for a while. Now listen closely. If this withdrawal from intimacy escalates to the point where it stops entirely, then it's a whole different ballgame. When she completely ceases to be intimate, it signals something far more serious. It indicates that she's no longer emotionally invested in the relationship. In such a case, she might be looking for a way out because she's tired of the marriage or partnership as it stands. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." When her heart is no longer in it, the physical connection naturally evaporates. Let's say you've noticed this change. Those moments of closeness that once defined your bond are now a distant memory. It's not just about the lack of physical touch. It's about the erosion of emotional intimacy. You deserve to share life with someone who eagerly engages with you, both emotionally and physically. When that connection starts to wane, it's a stark warning sign that the dynamics of the relationship might be shifting, perhaps even towards infidelity. So, here's what you need to do. If you sense that she's distancing herself in this intimate way, sit her down and have an honest conversation. Ask her gently what's going on and listen carefully to her response. Is it just stress or something else at play? Remember, as Epictetus said, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. Engage in this dialogue not only to express your own feelings, but also to understand what might be driving her away. A withdrawal from intimacy, whether it's a subtle reduction or a complete cessation, is a significant red flag. It's a message that the emotional and physical connection you once shared is fading, and if left unaddressed, it could be a sign of something far more troubling. You deserve a relationship where intimacy flows naturally and both partners invest their hearts fully. So, pay attention to these signs, communicate openly, and ensure that you are both on the same page, because your emotional well-being is too important to ignore. Number 4, she will focus more on her appearance. When you notice a sudden, marked change in the way she cares for her appearance, it's not something to dismiss lightly. You see, every relationship has its rhythms and routines, and if she used to keep a balanced approach to self-care, but now you're seeing an extra mile effort that wasn't there before, it might be a red flag. In fact, let's say she used to dress casually, opting for comfort and a style that reflected her true self. Now, suddenly, she's overhauling her wardrobe almost every few days. One moment she's sporting her usual look, and the next, she's out with a completely new style, trendy, meticulously styled, and it feels almost like a costume change. Look, while taking care of oneself is always a good thing, there's a difference between healthy self-improvement and a drastic, out-of-character obsession with appearance. Imagine this. You come home, and she's spent hours perfecting her look, applying makeup with an intensity you've never seen before, picking out outfits that are not only new, but also far removed from what she usually wears. In fact, if you start noticing that she's trying to stay ahead of trends, buying clothes that even seem outdated as soon as she wears them, then you have to ask yourself, why now? Is she doing this just to feel good about herself, or is she trying to impress someone new? Here's the thing. When someone shifts their focus so intensely towards their appearance, it might not just be about boosting their self-esteem. It could be a subtle signal that she's seeking validation from outside the relationship. You see, self-care should be about nourishing one's inner self and expressing individuality, not about transforming overnight to fit someone else's expectations. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." So if her thoughts and energy are now centered on impressing someone else, you need to take notice. Let's say you start to see her spending more time on grooming and less on spending quality moments with you. Perhaps she's updating her look for social outings or even her social media in a way that feels excessive compared to how she used to be. If she's making a conscious effort to change her style frequently, changing hairdos, experimenting with makeup, and altering her wardrobe, it might be because she's trying to catch someone else's eye. This isn't about evolving as a person. It's about trying to fit into someone else's ideal. Listen, I'm not here to say that every change in style is a sign of infidelity. People evolve, and sometimes a new look is just a phase of self-discovery. But if this change happens abruptly and becomes a constant, uncharacteristic focus, it's time to have a conversation. Ask her gently what's inspiring this sudden change. Is it just a new hobby or interest? Or is there someone else whose opinions or presence are influencing her? If you notice that your partner is going beyond her usual self-care routine, if she's now obsessively focusing on her appearance, seemingly for reasons beyond personal well-being, it might be a sign that her emotional energy is being directed elsewhere. You deserve to know if this shift is simply a part of her personal growth or if it's an early indication that she's seeking validation outside of your relationship. Remember, in any partnership, clarity and honesty are vital. Don't ignore these signs. Have an open dialogue, because understanding each other is the foundation of a healthy relationship. And as the Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely noted, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Stay aware, listen closely, and take care of your emotional well-being. Number 5. She will become so defensive. Listen, here's the thing. When you start noticing that her character has shifted, and every time you try to address a concern, even something as simple as asking how her day was, she immediately goes on the defensive, that's a major red flag. You see, instead of treating your conversation as an opportunity to open up and explain what's really going on, she's quick to flip the script, accusing you of always suspecting her or making you out to be the problem. Let's say you gently bring up a change you've noticed, perhaps a comment like, "I feel like something's off lately. Can we talk about it?" Instead of engaging in a calm discussion, she fires back with, "Why are you always suspecting me? You never trust me." In fact, this isn't about an isolated misunderstanding. It's a pattern that shows she's already carrying a burden of guilt. Her constant defensiveness is like a smokescreen, a way to deflect any real scrutiny about what she might be hiding. Look, when someone is on the defensive all the time, it's not merely a reaction to being confronted. It often means there's an underlying truth she's trying to avoid discussing. You might even notice that she's ready to argue about minor details or starts questioning your motives before you even finish your sentence. In essence, she's indirectly confessing that she's doing something wrong, because if she were innocent, there'd be no need to shield herself with endless justifications. Now here's the thing. Being defensive can sometimes be a natural reaction if you're feeling attacked. But if this behavior is new and completely out of character, if she used to be open and understanding, and now every conversation turns into a battle, you need to take notice. As Epictetus wisely said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." So, listen carefully to not only her words, but also to the emotions behind them. The fact that she's always on the defensive is a clear signal that she might be concealing her guilt. Imagine the dynamic of your relationship as a dance, one where both partners are in sync. If one partner starts dodging, overreacting, and counter-attacking at every small comment, it disrupts the harmony. In fact, this constant defensiveness isn't just about protecting her pride. It's a subtle admission that she's aware of her missteps, even if she won't say it outright. So look, if you find yourself repeatedly hearing phrases like, "Why are you always suspecting me?" or if every attempt to have a heart-to-heart ends in a quarrel, then it's time to step back and evaluate the situation. Don't brush it off as a minor personality quirk. Instead, consider it a significant warning sign that something in your relationship is amiss. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice. In other words, maintain your integrity and seek clarity instead of getting drawn into a cycle of blame and deflection. You deserve a partner who communicates openly, not one who uses defensiveness to hide the truth. So, if her constant need to defend herself feels like a shield against accountability, it's a sign that you need to have a serious conversation about trust, honesty, and the direction your relationship is heading. Remember, you deserve a relationship where openness and mutual respect are at the forefront, not one where every discussion turns into a defensive battle. Now that we've covered these 5 major signs, her complete withdrawal, the sudden increase in nagging and criticism, her obsessive focus on her appearance, the withdrawal from intimacy, and her over-the-top defensiveness, it's time to tie it all together. You see, these aren't random behaviors. They're clear signals that something isn't right. The first thing you need to do is sit her down and have an honest, heart-to-heart conversation. But here's the thing. As you approach this conversation, keep in mind that she's likely to deny everything. In fact, it's just like asking a thief, "Are you a thief?" Until you catch that thief red-handed, there's no way you're going to get a straightforward admission. Remember, this isn't about labeling every behavior as inherently toxic or assuming the worst about every woman. Rather, it's about being aware of the signs that a relationship is veering off course. You deserve honesty, respect, and open communication. If these signs are present, it's time to question what's really going on and protect your own well-being. So, take these signals seriously. Approach the conversation with care, but be prepared for denials, because, as with any wrongdoing, the truth often only comes out when the evidence is undeniable. And if you find that her behavior remains unchanged, despite your honest efforts to communicate, then you know for a fact that these signs aren't just random. They're a window into a deeper issue. At the end of the day, you deserve clarity and trust in your relationship. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice. In other words, maintain your integrity and safeguard your peace of mind. Trust your instincts, gather your evidence, and confront the situation head-on. Your emotional well-being is worth every effort you put into uncovering the truth. Thanks for watching. See you in our next video.